Okay. It sounded like a good idea. Earlier today, I was like, I'm going to start off sleeping, like I'm sleeping, and then I wake up on the stream. That'll be funny. Anyway, the good news is sometimes when something isn't funny, that actually makes it funny. So that's good news for me. What's up? What's up, folks? We're back. It's Steve Holmes here, streaming live from Los Angeles. We're doing our live drum stream. It's the 18th. It is 12 o'clock ish, 11:58 Pacific Standard Time, and we're broadcasting live to the world from the drum room. We do this every once in a while. We play drums and we talk about drums and we have fun. So it's for people that are interested in that kind of thing. So welcome. Um, you know, in a bar full of people, there's always someone to find. Isn't that crazy? I was listening to that song last week, Crazy from Seal. Do you remember that song? It's a really good 90s tune, actually. There's some really cool drum programming in there, and the production is really good. And I just like that groove. I'd like to play along with that tune, but we would get like copyright yanked right away. Speaking of which, 2 streams ago, last week we did a stream and then I had to delete it afterwards because my overhead microphone fell about halfway through the opening solo, and then I went back and watched it, and of course it sounded horrible. So I had to delete it. But the stream before that, after the fact, I got a copyright claim on the opening solo because I played a groove that sounded like this one tune that I forget because I had never heard of it before. And so the monetization on that video was turned off because of the copyright dispute, and I fought against it. I was like, I've never heard this song before. I was just improvising, so any resemblance to your song is purely coincidental, and it worked. They took off the copyright claim, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I was expecting it to be a big a big thing, but it ended up not being a big thing, which was nice. So yeah, we're gonna play a little drums. I'm gonna do a little playing up front. I'm just gonna push the button and start playing, and no one knows what's gonna happen, including me. Actually, we just kind of improvise, warm up, do some grooving, do some blowing, do some improvisation, that kind of thing. I spent a while looking for play along tracks over the week, and I just didn't find any that I liked. I didn't find any that I was like, yeah, this music is awesome. I'm going to play with this and broadcast it to the public. Like, I didn't find anything like that. And the little time we spend here, like, I just want to sit down and play, like for better or for worse, you know. This is kind of my therapy. This is me, like, getting it out. So post those comments. Give me some feedback on the sound. Give me some feedback on how I suck. And post those questions, because the chatting is just as good as the drumming around here. Sorry, I'm wrestling with my earbuds. I don't need them right now, so we're not going to wear them. All right, so let's do some drumming. Thanks for hanging out. My name is Steve Holmes. Stick around, post the questions, post the comments, and we will chat afterwards. All right? Let's do the cool overhead drum cam. Boom. Boom. All right. All right, we did a thing. We did a thing. I wanted to keep it short. You know, all these streams I do, there's like 20 minutes of me playing the same crap. It takes me like 3 minutes to start repeating myself, so I was like, all right, we're gonna take it. We're gonna take a little shorter next time at the beginning. And who knows? Maybe we'll do a little more playing. We'll turn on the click. We'll demonstrate some stuff. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a short one. Maybe no one will have anything to say. All right, what's up, folks? My name is Steve Holmes. We're streaming live from the Los Angeles area. We're blasting the Facebook. We're blasting to Twitter, Twitch, different places. Hey, my subscriber count on my YouTube channel went up a little bit over the week. I'm happy about that. We're trying to get the subscriber count up. So if folks aren't hip to my YouTube channel, there's lots of instructional videos on there. So go over there and hit that subscribe button. I hate to sound cheesy, but we got to get this subscriber count up. We're at like 23,000-ish. And those are like legit subscribers over the years. I haven't signed up for any of these like bots or anything. You can get these bots that subscribe to people's channels on your behalf in the hopes that they subscribe to you. But I'm not doing that. So, all right, we've got a few questions from different places. Let's see. Folks are saying hi on YouTube. Let's see. Nicholas Media, what is your favorite tempo to improvise to? Man, Nicholas, I don't really have a favorite tempo. Some tempos are more accommodating than others. It depends. You know, obviously, like, you know, faster tempos are more accommodating to like triplet-y stuff, and slower tempos are more accommodating to like 30-second stuff. It depends. Pardon me. You know, it depends on what kind of mood you're in, you know, or if you're in the mood for a particular song or a particular kind of music, or, you know, certain styles, you know, thrive better at different tempos. So that's a very, like, I don't have a favorite. I just try to be able to play in different tempos. Really, that's the thing, is I want to be able to do my thing, like at fast tempos, at slow tempos, at medium tempos, that kind of thing. So cheers. That was for Nicholas. Let's see. Aleksandr Murenko on Facebook. Oh man, did the stream freeze? Sorry, I can't tell if the stream froze or not. I'm watching it back, and it's like it appears to be frozen. Let's see. I'm actually turning on the stream. It appears to be okay on YouTube. So we're just gonna truck right along. Alex Murenko is here, you guys, on Facebook. Anyone who hasn't heard of Alex Murenko needs to go check him out right now on YouTube, on Facebook. Aleksandr, you're my new inspiration, man. You're the new guy whose drumming has really just inspired me so much. Your playing, your drum sound. Every video on your channel is to music, which is beautiful because it's all about making music, and we don't do that enough around here. I sit down and I play my drums, and that's it. But folks, if you haven't heard of Aleksandr, he's one of the top guys right now in my opinion. He's in the Ukraine. He's amazing. Check out his YouTube channel. Check him out on Facebook. Aleksandr, thank you so much for being here and for your awesome music, awesome drumming. We're gonna refresh things here. It's pretty crazy. That guys can be on the stream that are, you know, drummers that you admire and that kind of thing. Sorry, we're juggling a few things here, so let's see. What's your favorite tempo? We talked about that. Will you do more drumming tutorials on your channel besides the streams? Says Nicholas Media. I would love to see some new tutorials like you did a couple years ago. You know, I'm glad you said that because the answer is yes. We really need to get some new tutorials going, and I'm gonna do one on the new setup. Although I'm open to suggestions for topics for a new instructional video. You know, like those of you that have seen my channel, there's a whole bunch of instructional videos that I used to do on my channel. We used to, you know, break out a couple of cameras, film a bunch of stuff, and edit together like a cool instructional thing. And I like doing that. And I haven't done that in a while. I've been all about the streaming ever since I discovered the convenience of what I call fire and forget. You know, being able to just hit a button and broadcast out is pretty amazing. So, yeah, we're just messing with some different things here. We're changing the streaming settings here. Should we do that? Restream is saying that my keyframes is 4 and it needs to be 2, and I don't know if I should change that like while we're going live, but I don't know, I kind of don't care. Keyframe interval. Oh, let's do 2 seconds. Okay. That might disrupt things, but I guess we'll see. We're playing it fast and loose here. Alexander, man, so cool. Maybe you should do a stream, Alexander. What do you say? You know, or I'll have you on here, and you know, you can call me on FaceTime, and we'll do like an interview or something. You know, that would be cool. Let's see, what else are folks saying? Please don't delete this stream. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Matthias, you guys, is here on YouTube. Matthias says, sounds great as always. Thank you, Matthias. Another amazing drummer. If you guys haven't seen Matthias's channel, check him out. His drum sound is also like, you know, amazing, and one of these guys that's out there being amazing and inspiring me. So we love Matthias. Check him out. Let's see. Joshua said, I love the crash leading into the drum sound, like the crash on the and of 3 in the 3/4 sections. Yeah, and then the snare or tom on 1. Yeah, I love putting, you know, all these different cymbals I have. I love like putting cymbals like before backbeat, you know, kind of without the bass drum underneath, you know. I find it is kind of cool, you know. And doing it on the end or doing it on the like right before or doing it right after, you know. Or creating a theme like at the beginning of that solo. I tried to I mean, I established the theme and I tried to stick to it, but man, once you establish the theme, which I think at the beginning it was like just right. That was the theme, those accents, and so I'm doing them on the cymbals, but then like, you know, you start to get busy and fill that stuff in, and it becomes harder to come out in time to do the buzz like the, you know, that's like the, you know, soloing around figures and that kind of thing. It's super tricky. It's tricky to rock a rhyme. That's right on time. It's tricky. All right, this is fun. We're playing drums. We're talking to people. We're blasting on Facebook. We got some YouTube comments going. I refreshed my my page though, and so I lost a bunch of comments here. So I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. Drive into Florida from New York, watching Steve Holmes, says Emmett. Emmett, I've seen you on the stream so many times, man. Happy to provide entertainment on your road trip, Florida from New York. I actually did that drive. I did Florida from Jersey when I was very young, and there was a winter storm, and it was crazy. So yeah, be careful out there. Keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road, buddy. Let's see, the crash leading to. Let's do a little bit of that. Let's talk a little bit about like the crash before the backbeat or after the backbeat. I'll see if I can kind of mess around with that and put it in different places. And, you know, notice that like doing it like with a splash versus a crash versus like a special effects cymbal, like this is an Azuka. Man, it has a completely different effect, you know, and you got to do that stuff like intentionally. You want to do that stuff like on purpose, you know, pick the right cymbal for what it is, you know, you're trying to say, you know. So let's mess with that a little bit and see what happens. Yeah, so just kind of improvising a little bit there with cymbals, you know. I mean, I know from this angle you can't see like the back one. Apologies for that. But creating phrases, it doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be busy, you know. It's just like, you know, dum shta, you know, that kind of thing, or boom, you know, whatever. Like, you know, using the cymbals in kind of a way other than like hitting it with my bass drum underneath, you know. There's all kinds of different possibilities there, you know. You can create grooves off of that stuff, and it works at different volume levels, which I like. You know, you can do this stuff at like lower volumes. You can create cool little fills. Like if you don't want to play too busy, you know, you can play like a little phrase between a tom and a cymbal and a snare. You know, I find that contrasting pitches really helps. You know, boom shta, you know, that's like, it's not a melody necessarily, but it's not just the same pitch over and over, you know. There's a you know, big contrast in the pitches there, you know, boom shta, you know, like we like the, you know, the gauge, you know, around here, the floor tom and the China cymbal of your choice at the same time. And earlier I was trying to do like, you know, like match the higher toms with the smaller cymbals, you know, and the mid tom with a crash, and then the low tom with the China, you know, cymbal. I think that sounds kind of cool, you know, so you can kind of mess with that and have fun. Kind of have fun with that. I'm not sure how that sounded. The middle tom with the open hi-hat. I'm just trying to, make suggestions to, to get creative with the toms and cymbals together to come up with fills and grooves, and I have fun doing this kind of stuff and kind of lower volume finessey kind of stuff, because, one of the benefits of playing at a lower volume is that your kind of loud attacks are a lot more effective. You've got a lot more places to go, and when you make statements at medium and loud volume while you're playing quiet, those statements are much more pronounced as opposed to just playing loud and you've kind of got nowhere to go, volume wise. I mean, you go the opposite, you can play loud and then get quiet, but that's going to have an entirely different effect, which will be effective, but not as effective, as kind of playing quiet and making loud statements, I'm a fan of that. So we did a little, we did 3 on the tom and the cymbal, that kind of thing. It's actually a 4-stroke thing, but it's 3 in a cymbal. And that sounds cool to do before a back, do the shot kind of thing. Middle tom with with the bell together, and then the floor tom with whatever, but not with the splash. Floor tom with the splash, not so much. And then we did middle tom with the open high, slightly unorthodox maybe. I don't know. Just trying to get creative. You know what I mean? Drums and toms. There's a lot you can do with them. So that stuff is fun. Drums and toms. Let's see. Darius says, Steve, love your playing, man. Thoughts on comping a la Tain? Darius, man, way to get deep. I know you're a fan of his playing, and I find there's such a unique pulse undercurrent to his style, man. You guys, Darius, bring in the big guns. Yeah, let's talk about Jeff Tain Watts and his comping style. Oh, man. First of all, Jeff Tain Watts he's absolutely my favorite jazz drummer. Okay? Those of you that are not hip to Jeff Tain Watts and like straight ahead playing, you are in for a treat. And I know I keep mentioning the same recordings. Everyone has their favorites. And I just keep mentioning my favorites. But Branford Marsalis Contemporary Jazz probably changed my life. Wynton Marsalis Standard Time Volume 1 definitely changed my life. In terms of hearing musical examples and well, first of all, just having an experience while listening, but then literally getting shown new possibilities, which is crazy. I mean, that's what happens when people get blown away by stuff. You literally, you didn't know that something like that was possible until you heard it or saw it, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Tain, his comping in particular, I noticed right away, one of the things about Tain is that his knowledge of rhythms and polyrhythms is very it's complete. It's very vast, and you can hear him use a lot of tricky stuff under the hood, meaning with his left hand and his feet underneath the swing pattern. It's pretty busy actually at times, but it works for him. He's one of these guys that his thing, obviously he's hugely successful. He's played with a ton of artists over for decades. I remember seeing Sabian ads with him when I was in junior high. He had those octagon cymbals, and back then I was oh, this isn't Rush. I don't like this, which is kind of funny. But yeah, point being is that he's been around for a long time, and you can hear that he knows his stuff in terms of polyrhythms and metric modulation and blah blah blah. Because I believe he arranged some of those tunes on that Standard Time Volume 1. They do Autumn Leaves on there, and they go through every subdivision during the head. Check out Autumn Leaves, that arrangement, Wynton Marsalis Standard Time Volume 1. They go 1 through 8. They're da 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 5, 6, 7. They go through all of them, the rhythm section together, and it's so cool. triplets in groups of two, like two with the hand, two with the feet. He does that a lot. Oh man, sorry, his solo albums, there's two tunes in particular on two different albums. The Impaler is an amazing tune that goes between straight ahead and like 7/8 Latin over this bass line of doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's great. There's a great trumpet solo on there. I can like air trumpet that whole thing. I wish I could like turn it on and make a fool out of myself, but I'm always afraid we're gonna get like the copyright thing. Yeah, the Impaler, and there's a tune on another disc with Branford and Brecker called Mr. J or Mr. JJ. Whoo, man, it's like this up-tempo swing thing, and Branford and Breck both take solos, and man, it's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure I've blown some car stereo speakers because of that tune. Because just this, by the time it's Branford, there's a piano solo, then Branford takes the solo, which is great, and then Breck takes his solo, which is kind of like, it's on another level. It's on another level. It's just the energy and the interaction between him and Tain, because that's one of the beautiful things about jazz drumming is like the goal is like, okay, you're playing the swing, you're playing the swing pattern, you're keeping time, and doing that thing, and then like you can literally improvise with your other limbs while you're still keeping time. It's like, it's crazy. Like you can't do that with backbeat stuff because you need the backbeat. I guess you could just play the backbeat with the left hand and like and improvise with your right hand, but the point remains, and Tain has just reached that level where he can just play whatever he wants with his other limbs while playing the swing pattern. Let me see if I can play triplets in groups of two underneath the swing pattern. I feel like I can, but now that I say it out loud, like I don't know if I can. But that's definitely a thing, Darius, that I hear Tain do. So I'm going to make a fool out of myself right now. Okay, so we did it a little bit, Like those are triplets. At that tempo, those are quarter note triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, just. Yeah, and we're putting them in groups of two, which is super cool in any genre. Playing triplets in groups of two is something that everyone who plays drums should internalize how it feels. And just be able to do it in your sleep and sing it while snapping the quarter note. Eighth note triplets in groups of two. And the reason why it's tricky is because it's kind of going over the bar line. And if you don't know where the quarter note is, the sound of the triplets are not going to help. Just a quick demo of that. Like if you want to practice that stuff, start with 2 and 2 and 2. And then once you get that, like start with 1 and then do the 2, right? But you just want to get used to how that sounds. You don't even need drums for this kind of thing, Just snap your fingers, sing triplets. And the reason why that's interesting is because if you stop snapping the quarter note, and you don't know where the quarter note is, you're going to get lost. It sounds like you're going It sounds like you're doing 3/4, which is what that is, or 6/4, like whatever. It could be a couple of different things, but the point remains, it sounds deceptive, and you need to internalize what it sounds like and what it feels like so that A, you're free to do it, and B, when someone else does it, you don't get lost, you know? And internalizing this kind of thing is helpful in a lot of different ways. It's not just helpful for jazz, it's just helpful for your knowledge of music as applies to like whatever 4/4 6/8, shuffles, like it applies to anything in 4/4. And actually anything in odd meter as well, if you figure out how to come out correctly, which is really cool actually. And all this stuff will help, get an understanding of metric modulation and that kind of thing. But triplets in groups of 2, let me just kind of demonstrate some of that a little bit and see. I'll leave the talking mic on for a second. Here's the corner note. 1, 2, 3, 1. And you can start by just playing on the same surface and just accent every 2, right? Do a bass drum on 1 so you know where 1 is. 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounds like a new pulse, Dagat, dagat, dagat. And it is a new pulse, but it is not the pulse, and that's the point. It helps to write this stuff out. It helps tremendously to write this stuff out. You don't have to write out a whole drum set thing. Just write out a bar 4/4, 1 bar, write out 8th note triplets, and bring down like 2 and then 2 and then 2 and then 2 and separate it out. And just take it 1 quarter note at a time. If you're struggling with this stuff, take it 1 quarter note at a time. But it will help tremendously to internalize this kind of thing. And you'll recognize it when other people do it, which is why we're talking about it. I mean, I immediately recognized, actually on The Impaler, on Jeff Tain Watts, The Impaler, when the trumpet solo starts, he does it for a second. He does it like, he plays like 6 notes between his snare and his kick and his snare. It's like 2, 2, 2. He does it. And I think that's kind of cool and hip. So that's just one thing of many. Talking about Tain. I saw Tain in the Tonight Show band. We went to a taping of the Jay Leno show when it was Branford as the band leader and Tain was the drummer. I saw Tain at Catalina Bar and Grill in Los Angeles, the old Catalina Bar and Grill on Cahuenga before they moved to Sunset. And I believe it was actually on the Branford tour for contemporary jazz. And I didn't get it, man. It was just way over my head, that stuff. So, yeah, there's a little bit about Tain. My favorite jazz drummer. One of my favorites. Obviously love Erskine, love John Riley, love Jack, love Elvin, like all the guys, man. Because I love jazz music, That's the first thing I ask people. Like, hey, should I learn how to play jazz? I'm like, well, do you like jazz? I love jazz, bebop stuff, after they play the head and the bass player starts walking and right at the beginning of the solo, when Elvin like smashing up, I just love that stuff, and that emotive response will fuel your playing. It certainly fuels mine. And so, yeah, that's Tain. We're talking about Tain. So that's for Darius on Facebook. Thanks for the question, Darius. I feel like I gave a lesson to a Darius a long time ago. I feel like you're that Darius. I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, Darius. Let's see. Joshua says, thank you. Exactly what I was talking about. Hoping you do that. Yeah, talking about the cymbals and the backbeat and stuff. Let's see. Matthias says, sounds great. Thank you, Matthias. Matthias has great ears, got a great drum sound. So if Matthias says it sounds good, like mix-wise, then we're in good shape. Let's see. Sten on YouTube says, how do you work on consistency and stamina at louder volumes? I am used to playing soft and medium volumes, so I get sloppy. My hands get tired on long gigs at louder volumes. Excellent question, man. Yeah, that happened to me the last stream, actually. And to be honest, it happened a little bit during this stream when I was blowing at the beginning. You get to those loud volumes and you want to play fast and loud and you just start to lose control. And I can remember several rock gigs, where, you get that feeling where you're just kind of bashing and you're not really holding the sticks like, for playing purposes. You're just holding them for bashing purposes. And that always feels horrible. And I can remember several rock gigs when that was the case. part of that is on you. Part of that is on, the sound situation, because at the end of the day, if you're mic'd up at a gig, then there's other things and people that have a responsibility for the drums to sound good. Like, you have a responsibility to play, your thing. And you don't want to be forced to play in a way to where you're not really doing your thing anymore. You're literally not fulfilling your responsibilities anymore, which is to play like drums in a good feeling way that serves the music. So if that's happening, there's a problem. And so at that point, I have to tell myself to just do my thing and let the mics do the work. And it's someone's job. It could be your job, you could be one of these guys that brings along your whole mixing board and you just send a stereo feed, or whatever. But you just got to play your way and let the mics do the work. And a lot of times, most of the time, chances are, if you're on a gig where there's monitors and mics, and you can't hear yourself that well, that's going to make you play louder. That's what that is. People tend to start bashing when they can't hear themselves because they're used to that feedback. You're used to literally the sonic process of percussion. Like, hit a thing, the sound comes out, and what that sound is will determine what you do, like how, what you do next, like from note to note. And so if that starts to change in a way to where it's not matching what the norm should be, meaning that the drums are so quiet and everything else is so loud that you're going to start hitting harder and then start losing, your touch and your control, that's bad. And so you just want to don't exceed that limit. Like have a fifth gear, be able to play at like 10, at 10 volume level for musical purposes. Like, have that ability and practice that. But don't go past that. And if you're going past that, you need to, work out the situation, I literally remember gigs at like the Whiskey on Sunset with rock bands where I would talk to the sound guy before the show and I would bribe him with cash. I would give him like $20 because those kind of sound guys, like they're just like kick and snare and that's it. And as you guys know, like I use the whole kit and I wanted that to to be heard, heaven forbid, and those guys, maybe they're not used to that kind of thing or they don't care or they're not good at their job or like the reason doesn't matter. But, I would just give guys, cash and I'd be like, look, man, I treat my drum kit like everything is like a string on a guitar, the cymbals, the toms, like I need everything in the mix for what we're trying to do. But aside from that, the monitor mix is going to determine like, if you get into that situation to where I can't hear myself and I start bashing. So at that point, other things need to come down or you need to come up or a little bit of both. And also, Sten, don't be afraid to have a conversation with your bandmates about this kind of stuff. It's not unreasonable. It's not a thing where you should be ashamed or you're scared or something. Like it's a professional thing. Like, you guys have a job at that point, like for better or for worse. And so it's okay to talk. It's like going to work and your computer's broken or your monitor is like half as bright as it should be and you can't like do your job. Like, it's the same thing. Like, there's a goal. We can't do our goal because of a problem. We need to talk about the problem, and they may not understand because guitar players and keyboards and bass players and vocalists, they have a volume knob and you don't have a volume knob, and chances are you don't have access to the volume knob because some sound guy does. And so that's your situation. And so you need to explain that and let them know, other musicians, depending upon whatever, if they're inexperienced or they're young, or whatever, they're not drummers. How should they know about that kind of scenario? Where it's like, man, everything is so loud and I'm just bashing. I can't even hear myself. That might catch them by, like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That must be horrible. And the answer is yes, it is horrible. So those are like technical things that, on the gig to deal with in terms of like stamina and stuff. Like, the good news about that is like, exercise away from the kit is going to help in that regard. I'm sure many drummers will tell you, like, just being in good shape, being healthy, not being an idiot with your health, doing exercise, and just, bumping up your stamina level so that when you get to the gig, you want the drum part to be easy. You want that to take care of itself. I always say that, like you want to practice enough and get good enough to where it's like, okay, I've got my drums loaded up, I'm on the gig, I'm set up. I don't need to worry about the drumming. I've got the drumming thing handled. Let's worry about, the sound and the music and make sure everything else is okay, but the drumming, you've got under control. So do what you got to do to be that person, basically. And if that means like doing some jogging or running or changing your diet or whatever, then, and you're willing to take those steps, then take those steps, because that stuff's going to help, absolutely. I'm in a situation where I'm just like, I'm not gigging a whole lot these days. And so I don't need to worry about that. But if I was playing sets of music and I found myself getting tired, then I would absolutely take steps. I would exercise. I would increase my stamina. I would eat right. I would make sure that I'm feeling good, and it's only going to get harder the older you get, Sten. I turned 50 this year, it's no secret, stamina and joints and that kind of thing are going to become more of an issue, the older you get, and that totally affects this. So it's part of it. So either give those correct things the attention they need, or neglect them and don't be surprised at consequences. Those are the two choices. All right, that's for you, Stan, on YouTube. If anyone's interested in supporting the channel on YouTube, I believe you can make a little donation with the super button there. There's like a smiley face or a $sign. We appreciate all contributions here. We're trying to upgrade our setup here. We've had much success in the past with past contributions. We've got a new light above. We've got new hardware set up here with this recording unit and such. So things are in a good place. I think the next thing is maybe a camera switcher. So we'll see. Let's see. Simon on YouTube. The stuff where you're just playing did remind me of the jazz phrasing too. Like Mike Clark has a signature thing where he kind of flams a rim shot and hit on the ride cymbal. Yeah, I mean, obviously like flam, cymbal and, drum, in that order is a thing, I mean, a lot of the bebop guys, did that stuff. It sounds like Mike Clark did it a lot. I never really dove too deep into the Mike Clark rabbit hole, but I understand he's an amazing drummer. His stuff with Herbie is great, obviously. But yeah, like cymbal and like tom or snare drum, like all that stuff is just super cool, especially in a jazz context. It's sloppy but not sloppy. Let's see, Cody Drummer Williams on Facebook. Awesome as usual, Steve. Learned so much from you over the years. Thank you, Cody. Let's see, good sound advice. Seth, let's see, huge in phrasing and vocabulary. Yeah, we're talking about Tain. Let's see, I describe to the students over the beat line, not over the bar line, like 4/3. Okay. Let's see, we're talking about Elvin. Let's see. I am the Darius. Yes, Darius, I knew it was you. I knew that you and I had hung out at one point. That's super cool. Excuse me. Cheers. Let's see. Tain on Kenny Garrett's songbook. Yes, Tain. I saw a really good video on YouTube with Tain and Kenny. Too. Like they played some up-tempo thing. Man, there's just so much footage of Tain. I love that guy. I want to give him like a bro hug and thank him for his music. Let's see. 16 on the radar playing triplets. Tim Wilson with the breakdown of an idea that I'm not going to read right now. Darius. Hit send to. Thank you, Steve. Let's see. I didn't dig Elvin at the time. He blows my mind now. Yes. Always interesting when you check out guys when you're younger and you're kind of not ready. And then you check it out later and it just blows you away. I love that. Hey, Tony doRosario on YouTube. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? You guys, this is my longtime friend. Tony doRosario, my brother. Oh man, I'm going to get emotional now. It's been years since I've seen Tony. Click on his name. Check out his channel. Tony is an amazing guitar player. And we grew up together. You guys, me and Tony doRosario, we grew up together in South Jersey playing music. I mean, we were like little kids watching MTV, buying instruments together, jamming in our bedroom together, trying to play Van Halen, playing original tunes that Tony wrote. Man, just that progression that we went through the same progression at the same time in terms of like our tastes. And it's not so much because I like the same things he likes at the same time. It was mostly because he would tell me like, okay, you need to listen to this. And he was right, you know. Tony sees the big picture musically, and he's been my guide for a long time on that, and it just helped me tremendously because drummers have a tendency to kind of do like tunnel vision of drumming things. They kind of tend to like just watch and listen to drummers, and they don't pay enough attention to making music and musicians and the big picture of music. And Tony is directly responsible for getting me to do that. And I will be just forever grateful to Tony for that. So follow Tony, check out his stuff. He's an amazing musician. And man, it's crazy to be doing a stream and then just see someone's name and like all these memories come back. Woo, man. Tony, send me we got to do childhood memories. That song was so amazing. I would love to do I don't know, send me like a track with no drums so I can play to it on the stream, or I don't know, but childhood memories. Love that song. And a lot of like in the early 2000s, late 90s in LA, Tony and I did a lot of coffee shop gigs together, a lot of kind of low volume jazz stuff that I was bitching about the whole time. But man, in hindsight, that stuff was priceless for my playing. Priceless. Low volume gigs they're so good for your playing, you know, because they really force you to just play music. And I love that. You know, I got my brushes chops together, and it was always like super quiet first set, and then second set we kind of open up a little bit, and maybe people would sit in. It depends on the venue. You know, there was this coffee shop in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard called Espresso Mi Cultura. We played there like every Monday for years. A bunch of Borders bookstores, like in the 90s, they have coffee shops, and we would play jazz there. We actually played at Catalina's one time. We played at the Jazz Bakery. Man, lots of memories. You know, we recorded some stuff. Actually, on my website, I have a couple of MP3s and playing stuff with Tony. So yeah, sorry to go on and on. But yeah, let's see. Seth on YouTube. Never thought about tipping the sound engineer. Yeah, dude, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Let's see. Johnny A says, what type of mic do you use? Well, there's several mics on here. The mics on the drum kit are a very cheap AKG groove pack that I bought years ago, which consisted of the 3 tom mics, a kick, and 2 overheads. And I'm not even using both overheads right now. I'm using one overhead, and then the other overhead is a room mic, actually. So here's one overhead, and then back there, you can kind of see there's another, yeah, there it is. So I wanted to get kind of more of a roomy sound, so I decided to go with one overhead mic for the cymbals. You know, for my purposes here, it's good. So AKG groove pack, and then it's SM57 on the snare, a cheap like $100, $150 condenser on the hi-hat. I bought a Guitar Center like separately. Like, these mics are old and cheap. You just have to have a good ear, really. Well, that's a huge part of it. And I'm not saying that my drums sound amazing. I'm just saying that what I have is working for me, and this is what I have. That's not to say I wouldn't like new mics. Any companies that want to reach out and do some kind of endorsement deal, like I'll gladly promote someone's microphones on here, you know, and upgrade my setup. I need some more mics. Let's get you know, a room mic and 2 overheads, and you know, whatever. Let's mic the heck out of this setup and contact me, microphone companies. Let's see. That's the mic lowdown. Let's see. Sten, awesome advice. The gig last night, and I mic'd everything except the drums. Oh man, forget that. I wouldn't play at a place if that was the situation. I mic everything except the drums. Ugh, man. Let's see. Thanks for the perspective. You're welcome, Sten. What else? Let's see. What else do we got going on here? Let's see. Happy Saturday, man. Looks like a new lockout. If you had to get another kit, what would you get? Says Borba Cymbals. Borba, this is the same room we've been in for a good year. We've just kind of rearranged things. We twisted things around and rotated things and whatever. We've got like this whole setup here. I've got like my computer behind me, new computer screen rather, and extra, and this is what we're doing for sound. All the mics are going into this Focusrite unit. The Focusrite is going optical ADAT into this Apollo Twin X, which is doing all of the processing in real time, no latency, and that is going Thunderbolt into this MacBook Pro. And the MacBook is running console software. That's what comes with all Apollo hardware, and that's where you add your plugins, your EQ, your compression, etc. And it's been quite a journey getting a good drum sound using the Apollo and the UAD plugins, which is what they use. But I feel like we've gotten to a pretty good place. So that's what we're doing. That's the setup. So it's the same lockout we've had for about a year. Let's see. I hope you got his autograph. Person. Yes, dude. The Aleksandr Murenko. Yes. Let's see. My gigs are all quiet jazz. Yeah, playing quietly is genuine. Still underestimated. Yeah, it's a thing, man. Like you got to practice. You got to work on it. Let's see. Sadler on Facebook says, "Good stuff, Steve. Big fan here. Greetings from Dubai." Thank you. Wow, all the way in Dubai. That's crazy. Let's see, getting ready to shed, then hit a gig, says Para did. Nice. Good luck on your gig. Tony doRosario. Yes, thanks, bro. Great memories. Yes, Tony. Bro hugs. Bro hugs. So I think we're caught up on the chat. It's funny, I'm blasted to my Twitch channel, but no one ever comments from Twitch because I have no followers. I have no followers on Twitch, which is funny, but I know they do come through. So I guess we'll do some more playing. I'm going to turn on the click instead of doing more boring blowing. We'll see if we can get the click going and do a little bit more playing and then answer any more questions. And then we'll wrap it up. Another one in the books. Let's see, lots of great kits out now. Oh, if I had to get another one, what would I get? Borba Cymbals is asking me. You know what, Borba? I mean, I'm a Yamaha artist. I love my Yamaha drums. These are Yamaha PHX drums. I wouldn't. Like, if I didn't have the PHX, that's the kit I would get. But I'm extremely happy with my drums. And, I mean, what I do want is a Dunnett snare. I had one for a while. On loan. I had a Dunnett titanium snare on loan from my friend Sam, and it was titanium, and he had these wood reinforcement hoops put in internally, and it sounded amazing. And I had that snare drum for years. A lot of my videos on my YouTube channel use that snare, and you like my do-it-yourself setup here, like the old iPhone earbuds with the with the soundproof headphones on top. All right, prepare for noise as we plug things in. All right, we're setting up the metronome. That's what's happening here. We're gonna plan 4. We're gonna take it easy. If someone wants to suggest a tempo, I have it set at 80 right now. I'm thinking something like 70. Let's see. Lots of great stuff. You had to get a click in the offbeat this time. The last 16th note. Oh, Matthias, I don't know if I can do that, man. I'll give it a try. Wait, is it 13? The snare. Yeah, no, that was a 14. That snare. Man, I don't the 16th at the end. I don't know if I can do that. Like, I'm gonna make a fool of myself here. I don't know if I should program it that way, or if I should just leave it a quarter note and adjust my playing. You know, maybe I'll do that so that way I can go back to just playing it on the quarter note, because there's no need to program it on the last 16th note, right? I could just play it like that's the case, you know. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna do it on the quarter note. Or Or maybe we'll do both. Just to click and hear it on the 16th. All right. I'll try that. I'll try that. I've never done it before, so it's going to be like I'm making a fool out of myself. All right. Stand by. We're at 80. All right. Man, I'm so used to practicing like... All right, but no excuses, right? No excuses. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a little loud. Whew. Whew. Let me know if the click's too loud. Like once I start playing. Look at my tire showing off. Oh, I did it. I did it in 40. Whatever. That's not happening. I'm so like quarter note oriented. All right. So that's the 16th before the downbeat, right? So like I can't, like I'm having a mental block against feeling it that way. Alright, I'm gonna play on the quarter and see if I can adjust it after that instead of diving right in. Man, that is hard. That is hard. All right, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it this week, and I'm going to let you know like what the breakthrough is, because that's usually like how that works with me. Is like I just hit a wall, and there's like one thing in particular that like, you know, kind of gets you over the hump, and then from there on, it's like the floodgates open. Yeah, I got to work on it though. I've spent just so much time practicing like to the quarter note. This is my old iPhone for the metronome stuff. Oh man. But yeah, like it's fun playing fast at that tempo because I mean at that point you're just, you know, whatever the tempo is. Like if you can play it twice that fast, then then you can kind of play your stuff at that slower tempo. You're just like playing in double time in your head, you know. But there's a couple of key things that I always end up kind of going to with that stuff, you know, like repeating myself. But places that I think are fun, like at that tempo, you know, kind of the fast 680, you know, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, I had heard a thing in my head with like a floor tom and a hi-hat, you know, like the last 2/16 on the floor tom, and you know the very last one was with an open hi-hat, you know, boom boom boom, you know, and so I had to kind of find the sticking for that. Let me see if I can find that again. You know, like what was that? And that's one of the things one of the few things actually that I find that the X hat helps with is if you're doing something with your main hi-hat where you're like opening it and it's not possible to like close it tight like right on one because you want that closed sound, then you can just get that from this and let the main hi-hat like stay open, you know, if you need it to, you know. So kind of having fun with that. But again, like establishing a theme, but like the busier you get, the harder it is to play busy and then come back to the theme. You know, at one point, like I was just happy to just play a floor tom on one, you know, much less the actual last two notes, which is what the theme really was. But that's like fun and challenging, you know. And I like you know toms and cymbals together. Like that seems to be the theme today, you know. Whether it's open hi-hat or just a cymbal. And, you know, and that's the other thing, like cheating, like if I can't get to the hi-hat in time with the tom, you know, then I'll just like cheat and just do a cymbal. You know, we'll just do a gush, right? We love the gush. So yeah, that was earlier. We had the click on at like 80. That's hard. I got to start doing it like faster. I got to start doing it faster. Let's see. Valencia. Oh man, you know you're broadcasting all over the world like all that. Like I don't know what people are saying. Oh yeah, Mashenga. Yeah, that Jeff tune he does on his instructional video. Yeah. You know, I'm really having like, I really like the instead of having to do all the notes on the toms, like instead of 2 on the middle and 1 on the floor, you know, it's actually, it frees up a limb to be able to just do a bass drum, like, you know, I'm finding that that's really freeing up resources to do other stuff, you know, so you don't have to be quite as busy with your hands. You get like a free hit with your foot, you know. I should really like, I'm planning on, you know, messing with that some more and seeing what else we can do with that and what else that gets us, you know. Have you tried, Alex says, have you tried playing 3 notes in a row with your right foot in a groove? I have. I don't know why I would. I mean, I'm not very good at that kind of thing, and so I would rather just like play, you know, 3 notes with both feet. But let's try. Let's see what I can do, like 3 notes with 1 foot. I don't know if I'll be able to. Can't see my feet, sorry. Boom, boom, boom. That's the best I got, Alex, for 3 notes with my feet. I was trying to do double pedal stuff before, but like my left pedal like keeps moving up. Here's the stick I dropped earlier. So that's me doing 3 notes with my foot. Boom, 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 bah. Watching from Greece. Super cool. Let's see, the drum project says, Steve, your playing is awesome. Inspired to go practice. Do it. Thank you for the compliment. Go shed. Go practice. Do I know any Portnoy jams? I don't know what that means. I'm pretty familiar with a couple of Dream Theater recordings, namely Images and Words and Awake. I saw them on the Awake tour, actually. And then, you know, Scenes from My Memory Part 2, I was pretty familiar with that record. But after that, I kind of stopped following Dream Theater. And yeah, I mean, I think they're great at what they do. You know, I've always been a little, I don't know, I've been a little disappointed with Portnoy in general because I feel like he's one of these guys that made it and then maybe didn't, you know, I was expecting him to, or it would have been nice for, I mean, some guys make it and then they stop like, I don't know, I don't want to say improving because for all I know, like he's improved a ton since he's made it. Of course he has, but you know, some guys improve more than others. And the drummers that I'm fans of are always like, they have these eras where they're just so much better like 10 years later. And a lot of the rock guys aren't like that, you know, they kind of plateau and they do what I call it like beating the rock game. Like they learn all the rock stuff, which is possible. It's possible to beat the rock game, you know, but I don't think that's possible with like, you know, jazz or fusion oriented music because that's just a never ending rabbit hole because of the element of, you know, because of the amount of letters in that alphabet. I just feel like there's just so many more letters in that alphabet than the rock alphabet, you know. Once you get familiar with that style of drumming, I find that guys tend to repeat themselves a lot faster. You know, there's like, I don't know, a dozen licks. Chances are, like, you watch a video of some guys and it's like, well, it's one of those 12, and I'm also guilty of that. You know, I repeat myself too. But like, I'm aware of it and I try to, you know, push myself and whatever. I'm getting myself into trouble now. I mean, I respect anyone that makes a living playing music and has success and is like a famous musician. Like, that's so hard to do. And like I said, like, I'm very familiar with like 3 of their recordings and I've seen them in concert. So this is coming from a place of positivity, and it's like, you know, you like something and you want the thing to be great. And then maybe if it's not as great as you think that it can be, that can be kind of a bummer. And that goes for people too. You know, basically you're disappointed in someone because you think that they're this thing, and then you kind of get into it and it's like, oh, it's just this. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just saying, like, in general. And talking about, you know, Dream Theater kind of reminded me of that. So that's me putting on the reverse, like, boop, boop, boop. Backing out. Yes, but seriously, like, respect for, I mean, like, guys that like tour stadiums, and I actually like that he left Dream Theater. He was like, I need to play other music. And you know what? That band he's in with Billy Sheehan and what's his name? Fuck, I forget his name. I'm sorry. The guitar player who sings. I love that guy. And I think it's cool that he plays in that band, actually. I would love to see that band. And then like Mangini and Dream Theaters, it's as my wife likes to say, it's not for me. So yeah, that's that. Let's see. Eric Wood, taking a break from practice, headed back after I watch you for a bit. All right, Eric. Happy to provide entertainment during your break. Let's see. Early Dream Theater stuff is better. See, sometimes the hardest thing is to just play a straight groove with no fills. That's true. That's true. Richie Kotzen, yes. Oh man, I love Richie Kotzen. Man, that Richie Kotzen. He's just one of those guys where I'm just like, why isn't Richie Kotzen like? Why isn't he like Celine Dion famous? Like, why isn't he like? I love that guy. Like, he's got such a good voice. He's such a great player, and yeah, that band. I forget the name of the band with him and Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy. But yeah, I mean, it's possible to be a rock guy and like transcend. Like Dave DiCenzo, like, is a great example. Dave DiCenzo, as far as I'm concerned, changed modern drumming. No one played like Dave DiCenzo is like, he plays stuff no one else played and no one else plays, and he has a thing that no one else can do that's amazing. There's only one other guy I've seen that's kind of from the DiCenzo school that's amazing, and that is Jay Scott Drummer on Instagram. Jay Scott, his name is John Scott, or I don't know his whole name. I'm sorry, but he's amazing too. He's kind of got a little bit of that DiCenzo flow, and I think he studied with him. I think. I'm not sure, but I'd like to study with Jay Scott because he's amazing, or DiCenzo for that matter. Let's see. Greetings from Munich. Yeah, Winery Dogs is the name of that band. Always like your motion around the drum, says Tony. Thank you, Tony. Really appreciate it. But I think I've played enough today. It's just boring watching me repeat myself. Let's see. Alexander is messaging me on Facebook. Thanks for the kind words. Very nice. He's asking me about like Yamaha versus like the Yamaha PHX versus the Gretsch, because he's all into the, like, he's a Gretsch guy. Aleksandr Murenko. And so him and I have been messaging on Facebook, and he actually sent me a video of his setup at home because I was curious about his light, because his videos look really cool. He's got like this cool lighting, and I wanted to get that happening, and I haven't been able to get it happening because my light is so bright it lights up the whole room, whereas his kind of like, his walls are far enough away to like all you see is like him and drums and like blackness in the background. I think that looks really cool. But my drum room is it's too small for that, but it's fine. I'm not complaining. I just like chatting with drummers that I think, and musicians that I think are amazing, like on social media. Like, I had an exchange with Steve Kahn on Facebook at one time about that CD he did that I loved back in the day with Dave Weckl and Anthony Jackson, Public Access, and I was going back and forth with him about that CD, and I love that, you know. That's one of the cool things about social media, is just, you know, these cool like interactions with people that, you know, are greats at the thing you're interested in, whatever that may be. So yeah. Boom. What else we got? Jonathan says, "Hey Steve, big fan. Love your playing. Quintuplet grooves have gained in popularity in recent years. Are they something you enjoy playing?" Man, yeah, that kind of came and went. Actually, like years ago, a lot of guys were playing like kind of shuffled grooves, but the shuffle notes were like the last and first note of the quintuplet, and I never worked on that. I've worked on other stuff. I've worked on, you know, like there's one thing that I stumbled onto that I enjoy doing, where I'm playing like basically quintuplets and accenting every other one with my right hand, you know, during the groove, which ends up being, you know, 5/2, and then accenting every other one of those, which ends up being 5/4. And so you're kind of like playing 5/4 on the hi-hat while you're playing the groove. And I stumbled upon that like by accident one time. And I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it's like, you know, you realize you're doing this thing, you're not sure what it is, and you're there and you're doing it and you're like, oh my God, what is this? This kind of sounds neat, and you don't want to lose it. It's like, you know, being in a dream, and you wake up and you're like, oh, let me, what was that, you know? Let's see, Romulus is saying, go. Are you talking about playing that 5? I don't know if I can remember it. It was definitely to a click. Man, what was that? I gotta. It was to a click and 4. I guess I could turn on the click and see if I could get it going real quick. All right, stand by. Just another like embarrassing myself thing. It was like playing quintuplets in 4. Right hand is playing 5/2 because that's half, right? And then you start accenting every other one, like just kind of naturally, like with the molar, and that's 5/4. I'm gonna have to turn up the tempo for this. Give me a moment. We are adjusting the metronome, ladies and gentlemen. Da-da-da-da. We are turning on the metronome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if this is going to. Da-da-da-da. All right. I'm going to have the click on every quarter note so that you can hear where the time is. And we'll see if I can get there. Let's turn the tempo up. It's at 96, so let's say like 103. I don't, geez. All right. See if we can get there. Matthias, the last 16th. It's too loud. It's too loud. Still too loud. There we go. All right, it might take me a second to get there. I'll see if I can find it. Stand by. So that was it. That was it pretty much. So again, what's happening there is we're in 4/4, and I'm playing 5/2 on the hi-hat, so it's 10/4, right? And so at that point, I'm just kind of improvising with the bass drum and the snare drum, right? In terms of where the backbeat is. But basically what's happening is I'm playing a metric modulation in 5/4. I'm playing in 5/4 over top of the space of 4/4. That's what's happening. But the gateway to that is the hi-hat is playing 5/2, right? So the hi-hat's doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Right? So it's an even 5/2, right? And we're just doing that twice because we're in a bar 4/4. So we're doing 5/2 twice. That's all that is, right? So it's 10/4 technically, right? And so at that point, it just kind of, the molar just kind of happens on its own because that's what wants to happen, right? Your hand wants to play the molar if you're used to doing that, which I am. And so I'm playing 5/2. My right hand starts to do the molar, which means it's accenting every other one. And if you accent every other note of 5/2, you're accenting 5/4, right? So let's see if we can just do that, right? Sorry. No, I can't do it. It's easier with the click. I need to practice it, but that's what's happening. Is the right hand is playing? It's starting to accent 5/4, and so I'm basically latching onto that 5/4 as the new quarter note, and I'm playing grooves in 5. I'm improvising in 5 at that point. Just by simple grooves in 5, like boom da 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 1 2 3 4 5. Like, gonna be able to like just freely come up with stuff in 5, which obviously takes some time. So if you have the ability to improvise in 5 and you can feel 5/4, then you can improvise in 5 against 4. That's basically what happened. So that's that. Oh man! So go back and watch the end of the stream and see how that came about. That's one of those things that I can do, but like barely good enough to like, it's like kind of this topsy-turvy thing that's neat. So someone asked about playing quintuplets, and that's my thing with that. Having said that, I like that kind of thing that a lot of guys were doing a few years ago with the using the quintuplet subdivision in grooves more and more to give it that kind of swung but not swung feel, which I don't do that much, which I kind of wish I did. Maybe I should get into that stuff more, you know. Hiatus Coyote was a band that kind of did that, a little bit of that stuff that I really liked. There was a while there where there was one concert video of them in London, whole show, Hiatus Coyote live. I don't know what the venue was. Really good production, amazing sound, great vocalist, and the drummers just played all kinds of stuff like that. And I just love that stuff. Let's see. I have a question. I hope you can answer. I've been playing drums for 25 years, and I can not get the hang of double bass drumming. Man, I don't know what to say about that double bass drumming. I mean, what is the music? What is the musical context? You know, like, are you just trying to like play cool fills or actually play grooves, or whatever your weak foot is? I would spend like days playing grooves and just play drums and just don't use your main foot. If you're right-footed and your left foot is weak, then just only play with your left foot as your bass drum. You know, like whatever exercises you guys would tell someone to build their regular bass drum, like play doubles, play triples, like whatever, like, you know, just do that on your on your on your weak foot. Let's see, definitely grooves. Man, I kind of got to a place where, you know, I was just, my interest in double bass was kind of, it's kind of old school, you know. It's old school, you know. It's like, you know, Steve Smith, Joey Franco, Tommy Aldridge, like these kind of guys. You know, how can I improvise in triplets? Play exercises? I mean, yeah, like playing triplets with your feet is tough because if you're not playing any doubles, then the quarter note is going to fall on every other foot every time. You know, I've actually spent a little time going back and forth between triplets and 16th notes and triplets and 16th notes to kind of, you know, get used to how that feels and get used to how that sounds, you know. And then switching, you know, back and forth between your hands and your feet. Sorry, I'm turning off the metronome finally. Yeah, there's tons of videos and stuff about that. I mean, honestly, like I'd be surprised if like you go to YouTube and search for double bass drum, you're gonna get tons of stuff, you guys. Like I'm not really the guy. I'm not really the guy with this. How can I improvise in triplets? Honestly, like I have like one or two double bass licks that are kind of, they sound cool, and I just take them out and like that checks the box, you know. What kit do you got and how much was it? Says Trice. I have a Yamaha PHX kit. I'm a Yamaha artist, and I forget how much I paid. I got an artist discount. These are the best drums that Yamaha offers. These are the best drums that money can buy, in my opinion. I love the Yamaha PHX drums. The two, like the go-to, like double bass, it's like 4 with the hands, 2 with the feet, you know, like that kind of corny stuff. But there's another lick that kind of sounds cool that I learned from Ray Luzier from Korn, because before he was in Korn, he was, you know, a local guy, and he taught at Musicians Institute while I was there. And he has one lick that he does all the time that a couple other local guys do, but it's basically, it's this. I'll just spell it out. But this is kind of a neat lick. Also, I like doing the, if you play a simple phrase like with your hands together, something like, you know, dot, 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 and you just fill in doubles with your feet between those, that sounds like super busy, but it's just a simple phrase, you know? So a lot of different uses of that same lick, those same 2 licks rather, da, 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 and it's just like filling in groups of 2 with the feet, you know. And also I like to do like a quick 3 with my feet, but I'm kind of cheating because I do like a double right. A lot of guys can do a quick double with their foot, and so you get a free group of 3 if you just put a left foot after that, you know. So there's that. Those are like some cheesy, easy, easy licks you can do with your feet that that I think sound kind of, they definitely sound fast and effective. They're definitely kind of head turning licks if people aren't expecting them, if you use them the right way. You know, one other thing I like to do with double bass, which again is not like super busy with the feet, but sounds kind of neat, was if you just play a subdivision, you know, if you play like flam and, you know, 2 feet and flam and 2 feet, and you play that like in a fast subdivision, but then you then play the same thing on a slower subdivision, it sounds like this cool kind of gear switching thing that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from over the years. During drum solos, I'll do it, and whenever I do it, whenever I switch to the slower subdivision, people are always like, whoa, what is that, you know? Let me see if I can stumble onto that. And again, sticking with the theme today, which seems to be like toms and cymbals together, like that's another way to do that. Like you just got to be able to internalize, you know, all those, be able to feel those different subdivisions against a quarter note, and then you can got to just kind of switch to that stuff for free. You know, and again, toms and cymbals together, just as a, you know, just as a groove, you know, the floor tom and the cymbal and the snare drum, you just create grooves, and it sounds like you're playing these like busy metric modulations. You're just changing different subdivisions in groups of 3 because you're just doing like flam, foot, foot, flam, foot, foot, you know, that kind of thing. So there's my double bass tips, 80s rock and roll, heavy metal double bass tips. Anyways, we should probably wrap it up, huh? We've been doing it. We've been streaming for about 2 hours. So if anyone's interested in online lessons, we can do this through Zoom or in person if you're willing to come to Los Angeles, or if you are in Los Angeles. You can email me at steveholmes@gmail.com. That's also my PayPal if anyone wants to contribute. I don't have a Patreon or anything. We're just doing these streams and letting people support however they're comfortable. So yeah, steveholmes@gmail.com. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. We're trying to up that subscriber count, and I plan on making an actual instructional video, not a stream, at some point soon, and I'm not sure what that's going to be about, but it'll be fun. It's been a while since we've done an actual video. All we've been doing is these streams. And I've got something else up my sleeve too. I'm working with someone to help me put together a website that will present all the different sections, all the different topics of all of these streams with clickable links, descriptive clickable links that will be categorized into different categories, like hand technique, all the times I talked about that, playing with a click, double bass, just general advice. They're all going to be categorized. They're all going to be links that take you to the timestamp in the stream. Because I'm noticing one of the downsides to doing these streams is that those videos just sit there, and rightfully so. Like, no one's going to sit there and just watch like an hour, 2 hours, whatever of a video, because that's just not reasonable. But to have a user-friendly list of topics that you can click, and that takes you to the part of the stream. If you have a bunch of different streams with a bunch of different topics, that could be cool. And so I'm working with someone to put something together like that. And we're thinking about like the layout and how to make it like, because I'm all about it being like user friendly, and it's the kind of thing that I would think is cool, you know, like what would I want as a drummer, you know? So yeah, if anyone has any websites that have cool layouts for that kind of thing, like a glossary or a list of things, like send me an email or send me a message and let me know. We're definitely looking for cool reference for that. All right. So yeah, this is Steve Holmes streaming from Los Angeles. This has been fun. Sorry about there's been a little like technical things going on here that we're trying to do our best to keep up with while like while addressing the camera. But yeah, we'll do another one of these soon. Actually, I might be doing a lot next month. We're gonna have a little bit more time to do this kind of thing. And I know we gotta play music on here. It's so lame. I'm so lame for not playing music. Like I've been, checking out play-alongs and that kind of thing, and it's just I just haven't really heard a lot. Maybe I'm just in this place where I'm just not like I don't know. I'm just being lazy. I just like to sit down and play. Like playing along with music is like I should do it, and I'm just being lazy. I'm being dumb. But just so folks know, I know, I know we need to be doing that, and I'm totally blowing it in that regard. But there's a playlist on my channel full of videos of me playing music with people. If anyone's interested in seeing footage of that. All right, so we're gonna. Man, there's a lot of comments on here that we didn't get to. Let's see. We talked about double bass. Let's see. How can I improvise in triplets? Some exercises. We'll talk about that next time. When you find yourself in a rut or are struggling, we talked about that in another stream. Actually, that's going to be one of the topics you can click on. But yeah, Nick Cleve on YouTube. If you go to my channel, there's a playlist of YouTube drum lessons. All the old streams are on there. A lot of them have chapters you can click on with descriptions of the topics, and we definitely talked about like getting out of a rut. I don't know exactly what stream. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do some searching. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna work on playing the click like on the 16th before. Man, Matthias, you do a video on that, man. Do a video on like you doing that and how to do that and different tempos. I would love to see that. Let's see. Bobby Vincent is here. Bobby, longtime follower. Let's see, man, you're really starting to dial in the drum sound. Sounding good, Steve. Bobby, thank you so much. Yeah, and we're pretty happy with sound. And truth, like I haven't really changed, in terms of the software and the EQ. I haven't changed a whole lot in that regard for about a month. I bought a new EQ plugin that really pushed it over the hump and got it sounding good. And once I had that dialed in, like I haven't touched it. And I think having the room mic really helped too, because everything was sounding too direct. So we've got an overhead and then we've got a room mic. So yeah, thank you. I'm happy with the sound for the most part. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, support, whatever, donate, click on the super, do all the things. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the free drum information coming. Let's see. Thanks for the double bass tips. New subscriber coming up. Nice. Yeah, double bass. Click that subscribe button for those 1980s double bass rockstar tips. Would you mind sharing your thoughts on Matt Garska? Let's see. I love listening. Yeah, Matt's a great drummer. Matt's one of the guys doing it. I think Matt's great. His use of, his understanding of rhythms is obvious, because that music he plays is just, you can't do that without really having a vast knowledge of rhythms and how they work and applying that to the drums. And yeah, I used one of his it's like the only track I've played along to on my stream was one of his play along tracks from his Space. I think it was called like the Space play alongs or something. There was one track on there I liked. Called Stank Butt, which was this really cool track. Anyway, yeah, I like Matt a lot. And I know he has a podcast too. I'd love a chance to chat with that guy, because he's like one of the few guys out there doing it, like pushing the boundaries. And yeah, I just think it's cool being out there and being successful as a drummer, because I'm not. I make video games for a living. Wish you could schedule some of these so I can plan to get there. Yeah, me too. Maybe next month. I'm going to have some more time and we'll schedule one maybe. How much are online lessons? Email me for more information on that, Bobby. steveholmes@gmail.com. I should steal some. Carlox likes, I know you're capable. Yeah, you left a comment about Keith before, right? Recently. I like Keith's groove stuff, but I'm not really a big fan of his like licks, really. Him and I are kind of from like the double stroke, clean doubles thing, and I don't know, the way he uses it is different. But I mean, he sounds great, and his success speaks for itself. I mean, Steely Dan and all these amazing bands he plays with, and he's been doing it for a long time. I would love to sit down and in a room and just drum with that guy. Let's see. All right, yeah, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out, folks. My name is Steve Holmes, streaming live from Los Angeles. We'll do this again soon. Okay.